As you may be aware, the Prime Minister, during her contribution to the debate in the lower house to deal with the extension of the state of emergency, mentioned that we had put in place a legal team to assist and facilitate the police service with the case management and preparation in anticipation of the avalanche of cases that will come out of the state of emergency, given the number of arrests that have been made and the number of charges that are likely to be laid. Permit me to say that this was done in an effort to, A, allay fears about any unwarranted abuse of human rights, B, to ensure that the police has competent legal advice at the earliest possible opportunity, and C, to ensure that the case is properly prepared with a view to securing conviction in a court of law based on admissible evidence consistent with the rule of law. The teams, I've established 4 teams, and I've met with them yesterday together with Commissioner Dwayne Gibbs, his in-house legal counsel, Mr. Hari Prasad, and the Director of Public Prosecutions, whose constitutional role in all of this is respected and carefully demarcated. I have handed over the baton, as it were, having facilitated the provision of legal expertise to the lawyers concerned and, of course, the DPP. And they will work hand in hand with the police service from here on to ensure that there's proper case management and case preparation. The team was carefully selected, and we have the President of the Law Association and former independent Senator, Ms. Dana Sita Hall, leading 1 unit. We have renowned senior counsel and criminal defense lawyer, Ms. Pamela Elder, senior counsel, leading another unit. We have former police officer come attorney at law and senior counsel, Mr. Theodore Guerra, who incidentally has lived through and worked through all the states of emergencies that have been declared in Trinidad and Tobago, and reminded us jokingly about that, but has the institutional memory of serving both as a police officer and as an attorney at law during these troubled times. And of course, Mr. Israel Khan, senior counsel, who is a formidable and renowned criminal defense lawyer, both before the assizes and in the magistrates' court. Among the junior counsel, we have persons like Sophia Choate, former High Court Judge Justice Larry Lala, Mr. Ulrich Skerrett, and many others who have all served very well in the criminal justice system. They have been selected as well to strike the right balance to ensure that those who are innocent will be treated fairly and be released early. There may be credible evidence to substantiate and justify charges, that their cases will be properly prepared with a view to securing a conviction. You may have seen the Scrap Iron Dealers Association calling for a meeting with the Attorney General and the Minister of Trade. And I wish to announce that in consultation with my colleague, Minister Stephen Cadiz, we have agreed to meet with the Scrap Iron Dealers Association, and that meeting is expected and carded to take place next week, Tuesday. In anticipation of that meeting, I have asked the Comptroller of Customs and Excise to be in attendance, and I've also asked the CEO of the Environmental Management Authority to be in attendance and also to prepare draft regulations. The scrap iron industry has been largely unregulated in Trinidad and Tobago for far too long. And I welcome and see it as a golden window of opportunity for us to bring about some measure of regulation and structure and purpose to this lucrative industry that also poses a major hazard and nuisance to the communities in which they exist. I want to sound an early warning to the scrap iron dealers that if they are coming to meet with the Attorney General, I would expect them to bring proposals to tell us, A, how it is they intend to store the scrap iron without utilizing the government roadway and the government road reserve and the government pavement in some cases. 2, what measures are they taking to deal with the protection of neighbors and the others in those communities where they live to prevent rat, snake, scorpion, cockroach, and of course dengue, having regard to the iron being kept as scrap for a prolonged period. Thirdly, if you are engaged in any trade, then your stock in trade. It cannot be an old car that is parked up for 10 years. Sell it, get rid of it, or we shall dispose of it for you. But it cannot be that because you're involved in the scrap iron business and you claim to be from the lower rungs of the social ladder, that you can create a public nuisance and escape scot-free. The reality is, as the Prime Minister said yesterday, all is not that meets the eye, and there is more in the mortar than the pestle in some cases. Legitimate scrap iron dealers will be treated fairly, and we are interested in protecting and preserving the integrity of the scrap iron as a legitimate business. Those who earn from it a legitimate source of income for their families, they have nothing to worry about and fear. But I think it's time that the Environmental Management Authority steps into the picture so that there can be proper inspection and regulation of the scrap iron yards for in the public interest. So I would expect that they will come with proposals to tell us how they intend to regulate the scrap iron business so that we can find common ground and consensus. I wish to join with my colleague Brigadier John Sandy in congratulating the police and the army for the fantastic efforts and achievements thus far. You would have seen last week, or this week rather, that there was an interception of arms, Panther rifles, passing through this country through TT Post. You would have seen the catchment that was discovered today, somewhere in Blantyre. And what we are seeing is that insofar as persons criticize the state of emergency initially for not picking up the guns, what we were doing is picking up the persons who would have used and who could have used those guns on you, the very citizens. Now that we have taken them out of the equation, we are aggressively going after the guns. And of course, I repeat, a big fish includes many of those that are already within the net. There are many big fishes that are already caught within the net. On the question of the illegal bunkering and sale of fuel, the Honourable Minister of Energy has provided an audit report that provides substantial evidence to suggest that there may be widespread illegal sale and siphoning off of diesel and fuel. And it is indeed a thriving underworld industry. And that report, I am going to study that report this weekend, and action will be taken against those who are involved in the illegal trade of fuel and selling it at an underprice for private gain and commercial profit. I end by thanking personally, on a personal note, all those citizens who have been sending me inbox messages on my Facebook. That personal call to over 5,000 persons on my Facebook has yielded several arrests in many communities, because with each message I pass it on to a trusted source in the police service or in the army or in the intelligence agencies without reference to the person that sent it to me. In other words, I only pass the message without the messenger, so it is treated in the strictest of confidence. I urge you, feel free to contact all of your members of parliament and send us the information, because we are using it, as you can see, with great effect to serve you better in the interest of your own protection and safety.